the Riviera Maya, there's a little town with sandy beaches out of this world, crystal clear waters that'll make you think you're in some kind of heaven, an incredible diversity of all kinds of species, a place designed so humans and nature can coexist in harmony. And all of that is at your reach. I bet you want to know what kind of place hosts these natural wonders that you're seeing right now. And it's no other than the charming and beautiful Akumal. Well known for being the first touristic project on the coast of the Mexican Caribbean, the conception of Akumal as a world-class tourist destination came long before Cancun was even discovered. This is a place with enigmatic energy, gorgeous landscapes, and a great diversity in its community that not only consists of humans, since this is a place where nature and urban progress meet. The history of Akumal is rich. However, there's not much documented from the pre-Hispanic era. The area where Akumal's town sits today used to be a trading port for the Mayan tribe of Itzees, and it was part of the province of Ecab. But not much else is known about this period of time. During the Spanish expeditions and eventual colonization, this area remained almost unexplored. Some expeditions took place, and it is believed that there was a few shipwrecks in the area before the Hernán Cortés expedition arrived at Cozumel. What is certain is that around 1735, a Spanish ship sunk in these waters. The name of the vessel was Matancero, and somewhere in the 1950s, a Mexican-American businessman and diver discovers the remains of the wreckage. His name is Pablo Bush Romero, and he's considered to be the founding father of the town of Akumal. Before his arrival, the area was dedicated to the extraction of copra, or coconut pulp. Pablo Bush came to Akumal and instantly fell in love, determined to develop this natural beauty into a first-class diving and tourism destination. So he bought all the land owned by the copra farms, and it extended his domains even more north and south. And that's why Akumal is considered to be the first known touristic destination in the Riviera Maya, since its fame as a tropical paradise to come and relax started way back in the 50s. Long before Cancun caught the attention of investors looking to expand. Now, the development of the area created more infrastructure, eventually developing into a town which somehow preserved its small village identity. The creation of the Centro Ecológico de Akumal, or Ecological Center of Akumal, in 1993 was a pivotal move to preserving the coral reef, the bays, and all the ecosystems in the area. Now, in terms of biodiversity, you'll find that this is one of the most eco-friendly towns in all of the Yucatan Peninsula. The local community has done a great job pushing out the advances of progress, and they have been able to maintain large green areas of jungle dedicated mainly to the preservation of the ecosystems in the area, as well as declaring the coral reef and the bays in the beach area as national parks. That way, they're administered and protected by the authorities in biological preservation in Mexico. In today's world, Akumal stands out for being one of the leading destinations for ecotourism, since it boasts a great diversity of nature-related activities to do. This has made the economy, as well as the infrastructure out of the towns, grow, always with preservation in mind. You'll find that there's a very relaxed pace here. This town will totally give you the feeling of sitting out in a shack by the beach while drinking a beer or whatever beverage of choice. However, the shack days are over, and you'll find a small urban landscape with streets, concrete buildings, stores, and five-star hotels. But you do have a lot of natural beauty surrounding it. The community has always been linked to immigration. The early settlers consisted mainly of national immigrants from Yucatan, Campeche, and some states in central Mexico. But remember that since its conception, it was thought to be an international scuba diving destination, so there's always been the presence of foreign immigrants in Akumal. You could say that this is a place where many species have found a home and they coexist in harmony, from all kinds of animals and plants to humans from all ages and backgrounds. Everyone who comes to Akumal is welcomed and finds a beautiful place to live in peace surrounded by nature. As in all towns that are part of the Riviera Maya, you'll find a fair share of bilingual people as well as native English speakers. However, the official language is still Espanol, and in most stores and places you'll find local speaking. Sure, you can navigate the place with only English, but your experience and integration would keep it at a very basic level. If you truly want to experience a new life, make new friends, and truly integrate into Mexican culture and society, I highly recommend that you learn some basic Spanish before moving to Mexico and then keep practicing once you arrive. Now, Akumal is in the municipality of Tulum, which means that everything related to renting or buying property is regulated by the administration of Tulum. When you're looking for a home in Akumal, you will sometimes come across houses or apartments in Tulum. And also, as I've been saying, this is more of a village, so there's not really a natural division of neighborhoods. You could say that there are only 2 neighborhoods, and they are divided by the highway. There's Akumal Pueblo to the west and Akumal Playa to the east. Akumal Pueblo is where most locals live. Most of the people living here work at the hotels, beach clubs, or just on the other side of the road. The urban landscape is still developing. There are mainly houses and some basic stores like fruit and vegetable markets, hardware stores, butcher shops, and those kinds of things. But it's still very far away from being a city. I would say that this is one of those charms since you really feel like you're in a secluded beach town here, and you avoid all the noise of being in a larger city like Cancun. However, to live in Akumal Pueblo, most likely, you'll have to get in touch with the local real estate or find an apartment by going and looking for it, boots on the ground. Most of the locals here own the property and have been living here for a really long time. So it's not super easy to find rentals in Akumal Pueblo. If you do find something, most likely it'll be a 1-bedroom studio apartment, maybe a 2-bedroom apartment or house, and prices will be very affordable. I mean, I'm talking like 8,000 to 12,000 pesos a month, which is around 450 to about 660 US dollars a month. Then there's Akumal on the beach side. This is a hub for tourist activities, resorts, and natural reserves. There are some houses, mostly owned by people that bought land here a long time ago, so I bet the question you're asking yourself is, well, then where can I live? Some hotels and condo complexes have adopted a model of long-term renting, and you'll see that in complexes like Gran Sirenis or Bahia Principe, which have listings for long-term rentals. These are not hotel rooms. These are actual apartments with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, full kitchen, terrace. They do include access to the facilities inside the complex like pool, gym, beach club, and even a golf course. So it's basically like you're living on a resort. Considering all these amenities, I don't think the price is too crazy. They start at anywhere between 17,000 to 22,000 pesos for an unfurnished 2-bedroom apartment, which is somewhere around 750 to about 1,200 US dollars. You could say it's a very reasonable price. Of course, it all depends on who actually rents it to you and where you find it or what time of the year. There can be some fluctuations. Now, prices in these condos and resorts can go higher depending on square footage, amenities inside the apartment, as well as within the complex. You can find a nice 3-bedroom house renting for about 30,000 to 40,000 pesos a month. And this can go even higher, say for a penthouse or something with immediate access to the beach. The fact is that it's just a small town. If you get in touch with a good realtor, you will have no problem finding something that fits your budget and your needs. You just have to be flexible and know that it may not happen super fast. In any case, there are several other towns nearby. Logically, Tulum would be one of the first options, as well as Puerto Aventuras. You're only about a 20-minute drive from Tulum and a 30-minute drive to Puerto Aventuras. Both of these towns offer pretty much the same vibe and prices and have a more urban, active life. Now, what about the cost of utilities? Well, recently more landlords have adopted the model of utilities included in the rent. However, it's good that you know how much utilities cost on a monthly basis in case you were to maybe buy a house. You will be provided with all the basic services the same as in any other town or city. You have things like water, internet, electricity, gas, and all the things that you would need to live. Electricity is provided by the CFE in all of Mexico. They bill you every 2 months, and in the Mexican Caribbean, it's well known that your average cost of electricity will be significantly higher than somewhere where you won't use it every day. Not because the CFE or the CFE decides to charge you more in this area, but because the norm is to have at least 1 air conditioning unit in the house. If you let 1 air conditioning unit run for the better part of the day, This will logically affect your electricity bill. Now, you can expect to pay an estimate of 1,500 pesos a month, or about $80 a month, which could be less if you don't let your air conditioning run all day long. Water will fall under the same standards as every other city in Mexico. You will pay every month an estimate of about 300 pesos for a 2-person household. If you come alone, then you can expect to pay much less. Just depends on your consumption. Gas is delivered by a company of your choice. In Quintana Roo, there are several companies operating like Tomsa Gas, Zeta Gas, Gas Imperial, and many more. The cost of a tank is always going up and down, but it shouldn't go over 750 pesos. A 30-liter tank could last you at least 2 months. And internet is provided by companies like Telmex, Total Play, or Izzy. These provide fiber optic internet, depending on the area you live in Akumal. So whenever you get in touch with them, first make sure that they offer the highest speed in your area. You can also opt for satellite internet with Starlink in case you don't have high speeds in your neighborhood. Whatever service you choose, whether it's a telecom company or a satellite internet company, the cost will go anywhere from 350 pesos for the most basic package to about 1,800 pesos a month for the fastest speed available. If you're enjoying this video of Akumal or any other content on our Mexico Relocation Guide channel, please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. It really helps us share more content just like this with you. Okay, let's get back to the video. Now, what about finding supplies and groceries in town? Well, let's check some of them out, starting with local stores. You'll be able to find your basics and some more with the local merchants. You have your reliables like Frutas y Verduras, which is a veggies market, Carniceria, which is a butcher shop, Cremeria, where you get cold meats, cheese, and dairy, Ferreterias, these are hardware stores, and Abarrotes, which are local mini markets selling a diverse variety of products that you may need on a daily basis, like soap, eggs, and all kinds of pantry staples. However, Akumal remains a bit small in that sense. Although you will find sometimes small tianguis or street markets, they are still small and irregular. Most likely, you will have to make a trip every once in a while to Tulum or Playa del Carmen, where you will find bigger markets and more options to buying local. In these cities, you'll find the same stores I just mentioned, but bigger and with more diversity of products. I know you don't always find everything you're looking for in these markets, or they lack imported products if that's something that's important to you, but I do encourage you to buy local as much as you can. This will actively support the economy of the town and will elevate the quality of life for the small producers in that area. For big box supermarkets like Chedraui, Bodega Aurrera, Super Aquí, and more, you'll have to go to Tulum. These places have organic produce and imported products. Or you could travel to Puerto Aventuras, which also has supermarkets like Chedraui, but this would mean a longer drive since it's about a 30-minute drive from Akumal. It would make sense if you want to go to a less crowded place to do your shopping to go to Puerto Aventuras. However, if you want more variety, then Tulum is the best bet. Now, Akumal doesn't have malls like you would see in Tulum, Playa del Carmen, or Cancun. But I wouldn't get discouraged by this, quite the opposite actually, because most people living in Akumal appreciate the laid-back atmosphere without the feeling of living in a large city. The fact that there are no malls here keeps the flow of tourists on a lower level, and the tourists that do come here are attracted to the nature rather than the consuming experience. However, you have Tulum, Playa del Carmen, and Cancun pretty close. Tulum is actually gaining international recognition for being home to several designers and artists. A lot of them decided to settle here and open showrooms and workshops. So you'll have well-known international brand stores as well as independent foreign and local designers. On the other side, you have Puerto Aventuras and Playa del Carmen. Puerto Aventuras is a small town, but definitely bigger than Akumal. And on the beach side, it does offer a nice shopping experience, like night markets where local artisans sell their crafts. There's also a lot of several local designers and local stores. In Playa del Carmen, you have the world-famous Quinta Avenida, or Fifth Avenue, which is a pedestrian corridor home to countless stores, boutiques, restaurants, bars, and everything you can imagine to have a nice treat-yourself day. Now, for those of you who want to stay in good shape, in Akumal, you won't have any obstacles at all. Actually, quite the opposite. I'm certain that you'll be able to see an improvement in your health with all the options that you have here. Being at sea level and without any natural elevation, simply walking or jogging is one of your best options to stay active here. Not only will you find that this is great exercise, But you'll also find that it can become a pleasant habit. Try going out for a walk at 7 in the morning or a sunset around 7 in the evening, and you'll see that the air is great for your lungs and the breeze at that time of day is very pleasant. In Akumal Pueblo, you have a park with very basic machinery in case you feel like lifting some weights. This will give you enough to make your muscles a little bit pump. You also have a sports unit with a large soccer field and a basketball court. Sometimes the community adapts the basketball court and turns it into either a tennis or a pickleball court. Now, if you caught a minor infection or you're just feeling a bit under the weather, there is a local pharmacy called Farmacia Akumal. You have one on the Pueblo part and one on the beachside part. There is a doctor on site ready to prescribe medication, and they can do some minor routine procedures or lab work. When it comes to special treatments or serious hospitalization, you will have to go out of town. There are no big hospitals in Akumal. Sure, there are some local clinics where you can get treated for minor illnesses, but for major things, you should plan to go to Tulum or Playa del Carmen. But it's better that you know this ahead of time, right? In Tulum, you have the Tulum Hospital or Hospital de Tulum and Costa Med Hospital. Both offer similar services and specialists on site. Your other option would be Playa del Carmen, which is about a 40-minute drive. And here you'll have a great number of first-class hospitals and professionals. You do have private ambulances in Akumal that can take you to either Tulum or Playa del Carmen. So in case of an emergency, you would be able to get an ambulance that could take you to either town. To get to Akumal, you'll need to arrive at the Cancun International Airport and drive to Akumal, which is about an hour away without traffic. Cancun is the second busiest airport in all of Mexico. If you want to take public transportation because you don't have a car or you haven't arranged for private transportation to pick you up from the airport, or just because you'd rather take public transportation, then you'll have to get the public bus from the Cancun airport towards Playa del Carmen. From Playa del Carmen, you'll have to take a shared van to Akumal. The cost of this should be around $2 per person from Playa del Carmen. This shared van will drop you off at the bridge since it won't go into Akumal Pueblo. Now, once you get down, you'll have to walk to town. Now, the same works if you're coming in from Tulum. You can wait for a shared van on the main street and just tell the driver to drop you off at Akumal. Once in town, it's easy to walk everywhere. You can also bike ride almost anywhere in town since there are no really urban vans or public transportations that connect you within Akumal to other parts of Akumal. If you're in Akumal Pueblo, a walk to the beach is about 20 minutes, and if you decide to rent a place or a condo near the beach, then you can easily walk anywhere. The only longer trip that you should make or have time for is whenever you have to go to the supermarket or to make a big grocery trip. In this case, you may want to have a car. I suggest also that you make friends with a reliable taxi driver and save his number for these types of rides in case you just don't want to own a car. I normally don't suggest buying a car. I do think that in Akumal it actually makes sense to own. That way you don't depend on colectivos or a personal driver or taxis to run your errands to the city, and it'll give you a great tool to explore the area and see all the wonders hidden in the deep jungle of Quintana Roo. If you want to take buses to other parts of Mexico, your nearest bus station would be the one in Tulum. It's an ADO bus station, which is a big company across Mexico, and from Tulum you can take a bus to any major city in Mexico. And if you're wondering how you're going to spend your days in Akumal, there are so many things to do. Sandy beaches are not the only place where you can go for a swim or a dive in Akumal. This town is also home to a great number of cenotes. Cenotes are cavernous bodies of water that are basically natural pools of fresh water formed by thousands of years of erosion and supplied by systems of underwater rivers that run all over the Yucatan Peninsula. So in other words, the whole peninsula is filled with water everywhere you go. In these cenotes, you can access for a modest fee of about 200 pesos per person for the whole day, sometimes more if the park has more attractions like zip lines, ATVs, horseback riding, and that kind of thing. Also, if you're an experienced diver, you can join a group and explore the many caverns and tunnels that connect you to underwater caves and rivers. It's truly a unique experience. If you are more into diving in open seas, then look no further. In front of the coast of Akumal, you'll have the second biggest coral reef in the world. Yes, the second biggest in the world, which also means a great diversity of species. If you're not an experienced diver, you can easily get snorkeling gear and also enjoy the gorgeous colors and life that lives underwater. If your idea of going to the beach is not really being super active, maybe you just want to go lay down, enjoy a book, a nice cold drink, and the sound of the waves, I'm just like you. For this, you can go to the many beach clubs in the area. If you're living in a resort complex, you'll have free access and even discount. But if you don't live in a resort complex, then you just pay a fee somewhere around $15 to $20 per person, which will give you access to all the amenities, full day of the beach club, and you normally have access to a restaurant on site. If you feel up to it, you can explore the many parks in the area. You're only a 10-minute drive from Xel-Há. You also have Xcaret pretty nearby, as well as explore Xochimilco and Census. All of these parks are a part of the Xcaret Corporation, a big entertainment company operating in the Riviera Maya. There's also a great number of tour agencies working in the area. They can take you on boat rides, yachts, or catamaran tours around the Caribbean Sea, as well as take you to explore the jungle in the Xancan Natural Reserve or to archaeological sites like Tulum, Coba, Uxmal, Chichen Itza, and the other ancient sanctuaries that are in the Yucatan Peninsula. We have a great recommendation. I'll leave it in the comments section. Now, if you do want to look for some night activities, my best advice would be to either go to Tulum or Playa del Carmen. Just depends on what kind of vibe you're looking for. And remember that you're at the very heart of the Riviera Maya. It's only a matter of hopping onto a van and heading to the one of many towns and beaches that are sitting along the beautiful Mexican Caribbean coast. Akumal is a small town with a big heart and a thriving spirit. I would say this is a great town if you want to live a secluded and quiet lifestyle that's also perfect for you to spend your retirement around nature, or even if you don't plan to retire yet, but you're eager to enjoy a relaxed pace, listening to the chirping of birds, being surrounded by so much green, tall trees, a sea breeze, and enigmatic energy that'll make you feel like you belong here. I want to thank you all that you stayed until the end of this video. I really appreciate you giving me your time. If you liked this video, please, before you leave, give this video a like. By doing that, you'll make sure that you always have the latest information about living in Mexico, all the pros and cons, useful tips to adapt to the culture, information about procedures to become a resident, how to move your pets, how to move your things, how to move yourself, and so much more. Our mission in Mexico Relocation Guide is that your transition to this beautiful country is as smooth as possible and that you do it the right way. And if you're feeling ready to move to Mexico, please go to our website, mexicorelocationguide.com, and check out the complete Mexico Relocation Guide. It's a guide that's filled with information and the basic steps on how to move to Mexico. Plus, we connect you with all of our contacts across Mexico that will take your hand and help you move to Mexico the easiest way possible. Once again, my name is Mariana. You just watched a Mexico Relocation Guide video, your best resource to move to Mexico. I will see you guys soon in the next video. Hasta pronto, amigos.